I stand at my office window, watching Seattle's skyline shimmer through the afternoon mist. 43 floors up, the world looks ordered, predictable, everything my life wasn't supposed to be. My reflection stares back at me. Tailored navy suit, chestnut hair pulled back in a low bun. The carefully constructed armor I've built over 25 years. Behind me, NovaCore Systems hums with productivity 60 employees, national clients, and the quiet pride of something built from nothing. My phone buzzes against the glass desk, rattling like a warning. Unknown number, Kentucky area code. My hand trembles as I decline the call, the only crack in my carefully maintained composure. The voicemail notification pops up instantly, as if they knew I wouldn't answer, as if they've been waiting. Tessa, it's Camille. My sister's voice slices through 25 years of silence. I know you blocked me, but this is important. Mom and Dad need to talk to you. The words hit me like a physical blow. AM, Mom and Dad need to talk to you. _ Just like that, I'm 18 again. The New Mexico sun beats down mercilessly as I step out of the dingy Greyhound Station convenience store, a lukewarm Coke in my hand. I scan the parking lot, confused. The beige family Buick is gone, the spot where Dad parked now empty and shimmering with heat. My stomach drops as I pull out my flip phone. One new message. Time to grow up. My mother's text reads, "Let's see how you figure things out." I call. No answer. Again. Straight to voicemail. I wait under the meager shade of a stunted tree, watching buses come and go. 2. My fair skin burns pink, then angry red. My $88 in cash feels suddenly, terrifyingly inadequate. The convenience store clerk eyes me suspiciously when I ask to use their phone. Uncle Malcolm answers on the second ring. They left me here, I whisper, my voice cracking. I don't know why. I blink the memory away, forcing myself back to the present. My office, my company, my life. On my desk sits the only family photo I display, Uncle Malcolm and me at my college graduation. His arm around my shoulders, both of us beaming. The family you choose, _ he always says. I wouldn't have any of this without him. The GED, community college while working 2 jobs. That first coding gig where I slept under my desk some nights to get the project done. NovaCore starting in Malcolm's garage with borrowed equipment and desperate determination. I press the voicemail button, Camille's voice filling the room again. They're going to lose everything if you don't help. I delete it, but more messages flood in throughout the day. Email aliases I've never seen. Burner numbers, then Sarah, my marketing director, rushes in without knocking, her face pale. Tessa, you need to see this. She holds out her tablet. A Facebook post from my mother gone viral. Our daughter made millions and left us in poverty after all our sacrifices. While we struggled to keep her home, she lives in luxury. We only wanted the best for her. Where did we go wrong? The comments scroll by. Ungrateful daughter, heartless. How could anyone do this to their parents? _ My jaw tightens. The audacity of them to rewrite history. To make themselves the victims. There's more, Sarah says quietly. Westbrook's pulling out. Westbrook, our biggest client. The foundation of NovaCore's stability. Their PR department saw the post. They're concerned about the optics. I turn back to the window. My reflection now is strangers. 25 years of silence. 25 years of building something from nothing. 25 years of believing I was finally free. But I was wrong. Sarah hovers behind me. What do you want me to do? What would you do if the family who abandoned you suddenly demanded your help? Would you show mercy or stand your ground? I straighten my shoulders and turn to face her. Call David. Tell him to meet us in the conference room in 30 minutes. My voice is steady, surprising even me. And Sarah? Pull everything we have on filial responsibility laws in Kentucky. The family that abandoned me at a bus station with $88 in a sunburn wants my help now. But this time, I'm not the one who'll be left standing alone in the heat. The conference room carries a funeral atmosphere, 7 executives sit around the glossy table, no one touching the coffee or pastries. Their faces reflect what I already know. We're hemorrhaging. Westbrook was just the beginning, David says, sliding a tablet toward me. His tailored suit can't hide the tension in his shoulders. 3 more clients have concerns. Apparently, your mother's quite the storyteller. Sarah taps the screen. She's given 3 interviews since yesterday. Local Kentucky press, but they're getting pickup. My phone buzzes again the 15th time in an hour. I silence it without looking. Email notifications stack on my laptop screen like falling dominoes. Your sister's persistent, Sarah murmurs, eyeing my phone. Half-sister. I correct automatically. The distinction matters, though I can't articulate why. Marcus from cybersecurity clears his throat. We traced those threatening emails. They're coming from your parents' home IP address. He hesitates. There's more. They've hired a PR consultant, someone who specializes in viral sympathy campaigns. The revelation lands like a physical blow. This isn't impulsive, it's calculated. David slides a legal envelope across the table. This arrived by courier 20 minutes ago. Pennsylvania law firm citing filial responsibility statutes. I stare at the envelope without touching it. They're in Kentucky. Pennsylvania has the strongest filial laws in the country. They're trying to establish precedent. The room blurs slightly at the edges as I process what this means. They aren't just after money, they're after legitimacy. A court ruling that says, yes, this daughter owes these parents. Yes, their narrative is correct. We've got your back, Tessa, Sarah says, her voice cutting through the static in my head. I nod once, picking up the envelope. I need an hour. My apartment feels both sanctuary and prison tonight. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame Seattle's lights, but I see nothing but ghosts. I've kicked off my heels, shed my blazer. The expensive wine I poured sits untouched. The first sob catches me, by surprise, violent thing that tears from somewhere primal. I sink to the floor, back against the cool wall, and let 25 years of carefully contained grief escape. I'm 18 again, standing on Malcolm's porch. One backpack. Sunburned face streaked with tears. Dust from the bus station still on my shoes. Malcolm opens the door, gray hair rumpled from sleep. His eyes widen, taking in my state. They left me, I whisper, the words barely audible. He doesn't ask questions, doesn't demand explanations, just opens his arms, and I collapse into them like the child I still am. Later, hands wrapped around hot cocoa at his kitchen table, he says the words that will become my foundation. Their failure isn't yours to carry, Tessa. The memory steadies me. I reach for my phone, dialing the number I know by heart. You okay, kiddo? Malcolm's voice, though thinner with age, remains the steadiest thing I know. They're coming after me, I say. Publicly, legally. They want everything. A pause, then his weathered laugh. Remember what I told you the day you started NovaCore? The truth always rises. Like cream, I finish, a smile cracking through tears. Or bodies, he adds darkly. Depends on what you're fishing for. David arrives at my apartment an hour later with takeout I didn't ask for and legal pads I definitely need. He's been my lawyer for 15 years, my friend for nearly as long. The coordination is what concerns me most, he says, spreading documents across my dining table. The PR consultant, the legal strategy, the social media campaign all launched within days of each other. This isn't just parents missing their daughter, Tessa. This is manipulation wrapped in guilt. I stare at the printouts of my mother's tearful face on a local news segment. The caption, abandoned parents seek reconciliation with millionaire daughter. I won't be abandoned twice, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. First by them, now by the truth. David's phone pings. His face darkens as he reads the message. Fairweather Capital is getting nervous. They're considering withdrawing their investment. My chest tightens. Fairweather represents 30% of our operating capital. Without them, expansion plans crumble. Jobs disappear. Everything I've built teeters on the edge. My phone buzzes. Camille again. Just listen for once, her voicemail pleads. They're spiraling. I didn't know they'd go this far. Please, Tessa. Before I can process this, my phone rings again. Malcolm's doctor. My blood runs cold. The hospital room is too bright, too sterile. Malcolm's skin looks paper thin against white sheets, monitors beeping steadily beside him. Stubborn old fool, I whispered, taking his hand. His eyes flutter open, takes one to know one. His voice is weak, but the wry smile is pure Malcolm. The doctor says your heart has been through worse. He squeezes my fingers. This stress isn't helping either of us. Guilt washes over me. They're coming after everything, Malcolm. He steadies my face with eyes that have always seen straight through me. Some folks only learn their story when someone tells it back to them. He pauses for breath. Maybe it's time they heard yours. I rest my forehead against our clasped hands. Have you ever paid a price for speaking your truth or staying silent? His thumb brushes my knuckles. Every day since I picked up that phone at 2 a.m. and heard you crying from a bus station, and every day I'd pay it again. I raise my head, something resolving within me. It's time they heard the real story. I hit send at 5:43 a.m., that liminal space between night and morning when the world feels eerily still. My statement sits in the digital ether for exactly 8 seconds before the first notification pings. Then another. Then a flood. The truth I've carried for 25 years now exists outside of me. At age 18, I was abandoned by my parents at a Greyhound bus station in New Mexico with $88 in cash. No warning, no explanation. Just a text message telling me to grow up. I survived because of the kindness of my uncle and my own determination. I built NovaCore systems from nothing but hard work and resilience. The recent social media posts from my estranged parents claiming I abandoned them in their time of need are false. This is an attempt to manipulate me financially after 25 years of no contact. I've chosen to break my silence because truth matters. 3 paragraphs. 104 words that took 25 years to write. My phone buzzes against the desk. CNN, then ABC, then local outlets. The old fear rises in my chest, that familiar tightness from years of keeping secrets. But something else rises alongside it. Something steadier. Dawn breaks over Seattle's skyline as I watch reactions pour in. The narrative shifts like tectonic plates beneath the digital landscape. Wait, they left their teenager at a bus station? Who abandons their child and then expects payouts when she succeeds? This explains why she donates so much to youth homelessness programs. David calls at 7. The tide's turning, Tessa. People recognize the truth when they see it. I don't feel victorious, just visible. After decades of invisibility, the sensation is disorienting. The intercom buzzes at 9:17. Marcus from security, his voice strained. Miss Donovan, there are 2 individuals in the lobby claiming to be your parents. They're causing a scene. Should I? Pull up the cameras, I say, my voice steady. I want to see them. The security feed fills my monitor. There they are, 25 years older but unmistakable. My mother's hair, once chestnut like mine, now silver and styled in an expensive bob. She's dabbing at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. My father stands rigidly beside her, his jaw clenched exactly as I remember. The pose of righteous indignation he perfected during my childhood. They're demanding to see you, Marcus continues. Security is prepared to remove them, but Mr. Jacobs thought you should be notified first. 25 years since I've seen them. 25 years since they drove away from that bus station, leaving me alone with a sunburn and a future they never expected me to build. I'll be right down. The elevator descent gives me time to notice what isn't happening. My hands aren't shaking. My breath remains steady. The familiar tightness in my chest has dissolved into something else, calm certainty that feels foreign yet fitting. The elevator doors open to a lobby, fallen silent. My employees stand frozen, eyes darting between the commotion near the entrance and my steady approach. Sarah materializes at my side, her loyalty a physical presence. You don't have to do this, she whispers. I know, but I do. 25 years of silence ends today. I cross the marble expanse, each step deliberate on the polished surface. My mother spots me first, her performance instantly amplifying. Tessa! She reaches toward me, voice breaking with practiced fragility. My baby, we've missed you so. I stop 10 feet away, a safe distance. My father's eyes narrow, the calculator behind them, still visible after all these years. You left me at a Greyhound station with $88, I say, my voice clear in the silent lobby. That wasn't parenting, that was abandonment. My mother's face shifts, the mask of maternal concern sliding just enough to reveal the hardness beneath. You were impossible, my father hisses, disrespectful. We taught you a lesson about gratitude. By abandoning me, the words emerge without heat. That wasn't a lesson, it was a crime. We're your parents, my mother says, her voice rising. After everything we sacrificed. Security will escort you out, I interrupt. Any further communication needs to go through my attorney. I turn to leave when my father lunges forward, grabbing my wrist. The touch his skin against mine after 25 years feels like an electric shock. You ungrateful little. Marcus steps between us instantly. 2 security guards materialize. My father's grip loosens. Don't contact me again, I say quietly. This conversation is over. I walk back toward the elevator, aware of every eye following me. The doors close on the sound of my mother's theatrical sobs. Back in my office, I notice what still isn't happening. My hands remain steady. No trembling, no fear. The realization is almost disorienting. I close my eyes and see another place, another timey first night in a homeless shelter, before Malcolm found me. An elderly volunteer with kind eyes and a worn Bible sitting beside my cot. Your worth isn't based on who stays, honey, she'd said, passing me a scratchy blanket. It's based on who shows up for you, including yourself. I opened my eyes to find my inbox flooding with new messages. Not reporters this time. Regular people. Strangers sharing their own stories of family abandonment, of rebuilding, of finding strength. Thank you for telling the truth. I thought I was the only one. You gave me courage to face my own family. David and the legal team arrive for our scheduled meeting, faces grim with determination. PR follows with statistics on public sentiment. Malcolm calls, his voice proud. Found a box in my attic yesterday, he says. Your old bus ticket, that cell phone with the text messages. Even your diary from those first weeks. Kept everything, just in case. Just in case the truth ever needed witnesses. We're filing for a restraining order today, David says, spreading papers across my desk, and pressing harassment charges. I sign where indicated, my signature fluid and unhesitating. Sarah leans against the window frame, watching me. People believe you because you're not out for revenge. You're just standing in your truth. Outside, Seattle continues its mid-morning bustle. Inside, I feel the weight of 25 years shifting. I just won't be erased again, I say quietly. Not by them, not by anyone, not ever again. What happens when you finally confront the people who hurt you most? Does strength show up all at once here in moments? For me, it arrived not in thunder but in silence. Not in vengeance, but in simply standing unmoved in the face of the storm. In finding, against all odds, that I was enough. I watch my truth unfold across screens throughout America. My marketing team has set up a command center in the conference room, 6 monitors tracking media mentions, social engagement, and public sentiment. The evidence-backed statement we crafted sits at the center of a digital hurricane. Co just picked it up, Sarah says, her voice tight with controlled excitement. CEO speaks out on childhood abandonment. They're running it at the top of the hour. David nudges his glasses higher on his nose. The statement is performing exactly as we anticipated. Clear, factual, undeniable. On screen 3, screenshots of my mother's texts fade in and out. The convenience store clerk's notarized statement appears next, this recollection of a sunburned teenager using his phone after being stranded. And finally, Uncle Malcolm's testimony, his voice steady, as he describes the night I arrived at his door, with nothing but a backpack and terror in my eyes. My phone vibrates against the conference table. A Kentucky number, not Camille this time. Their lawyer, David says, leaning forward to look at the caller ID. Want me to take it? I shake my head and answer on speaker. Tessa Donovan. Miss Donovan, this is Lawrence Pritchard representing Gerald and Mary Ann Donovan. We're demanding you cease and desist these slanderous statements immediately. My clients were dealing with a troubled teen. Mr. Pritchard, I interrupt, my voice ice, cold but steady. Everything in my statement is documented. If your clients dispute the facts, they're welcome to explain in court how leaving an 18-year-old at a bus station with $88 constitutes responsible parenting. The silence stretches before he disconnects without another word. David's small smile tells me everything I need to know. The first battle is ours. Camille calls that night as I'm pouring a glass of Cabernet in my kitchen. The Seattle skyline glitters on my windows, a constellation of lights holding nothing of the past. I answer against my better judgment. They remortgaged the house to fund this fight, she says without preamble, her voice raw. They took out loans. I didn't know they'd go this far. I set the wine glass down untouched. And that's my responsibility. How? Tessa, please. They're our parents. They stopped being my parents the moment they drove away from that bus station. The words come automatically now, no longer dragging pain behind them. Did you know they were planning this? Her silence is answer enough. The tabloids are calling, I continue, glancing at my laptop where another headline screams, Tech CEO's secret past. The troubled teen years her company doesn't want you to know about. They're selling stories, I say. Lies about drug use, shoplifting, things that never happened. Camille's breathing quickens. They need money, Tessa. They saw your company in Forbes and decided I was an ATM. I finish her sentence, then add, tell them they picked the wrong daughter to con. The truth doesn't need armor, Camille, just daylight. I end the call and send a text to my PR team. Launch phase 2. 3 days later, David strides into my office, grinning. Lawsuit dismissed. Judge cited no factual basis and frivolous filing. They can't touch you legally. I nod, but there's no triumph in it, only the hollow recognition of a necessary step. My phone pings with a message from Camille. Their church group asked them not to attend service until this is resolved. Dad's furious. Before I can respond, another text arrives. I should have told you sooner. They saw your company in Forbes 6 months ago. Started planning that night. The betrayal isn't new, just confirmed. I text back. I can help them find therapy. Not money, never money. Her response comes quickly. It was never about your money for me. I need to tell you something. Can we talk? That evening, Camille's face on my laptop screen is haggard, eyes puffy from crying. I knew they left you there. She whispers, the confession pouring out after 25 years. I was in the back seat. I stayed quiet. We drove away, and I just stayed quiet. I watch her crumble through the screen, thousands of miles between us, but the pain immediate and raw. The sister who was golden to my tarnished, the one they kept. I've carried it every day since, she continues. I should have called you, should have done something. I want to hate her. But the weight of hatred is a luxury I abandoned years ago. Why now, Camille? Why the confession after all this time? She wipes her eyes. Because they're not who I thought they were, and I'm not who they made me. Before I can respond, my phone lights up Malcolm's number. My stomach drops when I hear his nurse's voice. Tessa, you need to come. Your parents showed up at the house, and Malcolm collapsed. We're at Swedish Medical Center. The rage I feel is pure, clarifying. I grab my car keys with steady hands. Camille, I have to go. They showed up at Malcolm's. He's in the ER. Her sharp intake of breath. Tessa, I'm so sorry. Save it, I tell her, already moving toward the door. This ends now. At Malcolm's bedside, his hand feels fragile in mine. Tubes and monitors surround him, but his eyes are clear when they find me. I'm filing for a permanent restraining order, I tell him, against all of them. He squeezes my hand weakly. They can't take anything from you now, he whispers. I rest my forehead against our clasped hands. They never could. Not what matters. Outside his hospital room, I make the call to David. When the real family is at risk, there's no longer room for doubt. Sometimes, forgiveness isn't healing. It's just another form of self-harm. I enter the courtroom like a surgeon approaching the operating table, steady hands, clear mind, everything unnecessary stripped away. My charcoal pantsuit offers no distractions. Hair pulled back in a simple chignon. No jewelry except Malcolm's watch. The gallery buzzes with whispers that fall silent as the double doors swing open. My parents enter me, mother in a wheelchair she didn't need last week. Her silver hair freshly styled, face arranged in practiced suffering. Dad pushes her, his shoulders hunched in a posture of dutiful martyrdom. Our eyes meet across the room. 25 years distilled into a single glance. Their lawyer approaches the bench first, Bible references prepared like ammunition. Your Honor, family should forgive. Honor thy father and mother, miss. Donovan has built an empire while her parents struggle to keep their modest home. Is this how we reward those who raised us? Judge Harmon, 60-something, with eyes that have seen every trick, adjusts her glasses. Before we continue, I'd like clarity on something. She taps her screen. According to these filings, Miss Donovan alleges she was abandoned at age 18 at a bus station in New Mexico. Is this accurate? My parents' lawyer shifts his weight. Your Honor, those were difficult times. Tough love was. I asked a simple question. Judge Harmon's voice cuts like steel through butter. Did they abandon their daughter at a bus station? The courtroom holds its breath. On the projector screen, my evidence appears: the bus ticket stub, the time-stamped text message, the convenience store security camera still showing the Buick pulling away. Silence falls so complete I can hear the clock ticking on the wall. My father's composure cracks first, his face flushing crimson. She needed to learn respect, always thinking she was smarter than everyone, questioning everything we said. Gerald, their lawyer warns, but the dam has broken. We gave her everything. Dad's voice rises. And she couldn't follow simple rules. Thought she knew better than her own parents. My mother's wheelchair performance dissolves as she stands, finger pointing at me. We sacrificed everything for her. And she was ungrateful, always so ungrateful. Judge Harmon watches with the calm of someone who's seen this transformation before the moment when the mask slips and truth emerges. She wouldn't even go to the college we chose. My mother continues, voice shrill. Wouldn't date the nice Peterson boy. Always had to do things her way. I remain still, hands folded in my lap. The court reporter's fingers fly across her keyboard. My lawyer slides a document toward the judge. Your Honor, we've obtained financial records showing Mr. and Mrs. Donovan took out a second mortgage on their home 6 months after Miss Donovan was featured in Forbes. Bank records show significant gambling withdrawals at Riverbend Casino in the weeks following. My mother's face contorts. That's private information. Not when you make your finances the center of a public harassment campaign, Judge Harmon says, reviewing the documents. When my turn comes to speak, I stand. The wooden railing feels solid beneath my hands. Your Honor, I don't want revenge. I want freedom. My voice sounds foreign to my ears, steady, clear. For 25 years, I've built a life without them. I need them to build theirs without me. Judge Harmon studies me for a long moment. Miss Donovan, do you wish to pursue damages for the harassment campaign? No. The word falls simply. Just a permanent restraining order, that's all. She nods, then turns to my parents. The court grants the permanent restraining order. Any contact direct, through third parties, or via social media will result in criminal charges. She taps her gavel. We're adjourned. My father's face darkens to purple. You're dead to us. He spits as security approaches. I gather my papers, leaning slightly toward the bailiff beside me. I have been for 25 years. Malcolm's living room smells of cedar and coffee. I set the hand-carved chess set on his coffee table, the one I bought him last Christmas. Outside, autumn paints his maple tree gold and crimson. You look different, he says, blue eyes studying me over reading glasses. I feel different. I move a pawn forward, lighter. His weathered hands arrange the pieces with practiced care. Some people only know how to take, he says quietly. They never learned how to love. My phone buzzes. A news alert. My parents' house enters foreclosure next week. I set the phone face down without comment. I paid your medical bills, I say after he takes my night. All of them. He looks up sharply. Tessa, don't argue, it's done. I capture his bishop. No speeches about it either. Malcolm smiles, the corners of his eyes crinkling. Stubborn girl. Learned from the best. I refill his tea without asking. Outside, leaves drift downward, their hold finally released. Their journey to the ground isn't a fall, I think, but a return. A coming home to what matters. Justice isn't revenge. It's the quiet victory of finally being heard. And sometimes, it's the freedom to choose where you belong. I drive past my childhood home on a crisp autumn morning, 6 months after the courthouse reckoning. The Kentucky Colonial that once loomed in my nightmares looks smaller now, less imposing. New owners have painted the shutters a cheerful yellow instead of my mother's insistent black. Children's bicycles sprawl across the lawn my father once measured with a ruler before mowing. My rental car idles at the curb. I expected something, a stab of pain, a flash of anger, but there's nothing except a quiet observation. This place holds no power over me anymore. A little girl waves from the porch, probably wondering why a stranger is watching her home. I wave back, then open my phone and delete the final contact still labeled family. Camille will know how to reach me. The rest they belong to a closed chapter. I pull away with a smile tugging at my lips, heading toward Malcolm's. The knot that's lived between my shoulder blades for 25 years has finally unraveled. To the chef. Malcolm raises his margarita glass across the table at Senor Pepper's, the Mexican restaurant where we've celebrated every milestone since my first programming job. The salt rim catches the light as he grins at me, his silver hair wild as ever, his eyes bright with mischief and pride. I laugh, the sound bubbling up from somewhere deep and unguarded. The chef just microwaved pre-made enchiladas. Then to microwaves, he amends without missing a beat. And to choosing your family. We clink glasses. The familiar sounds of the restaurant's sizzling fajita platters, Spanish music. Conversations wash over us like a comfortable tide. 6 months ago, I couldn't eat without nausea. Now, I'm on my second basket of chips. You're different, Malcolm observes, steadying me over his glass. Good different. Free different. Before I can respond, the lights dim. Sarah leads a procession of familiar faces me Novocore team carrying a massive tres leches cake with an absurd number of candles. What's this? I ask, genuinely surprised. David, my lawyer and friend, sets down the cake. 6-month anniversary of regaining your peace. We thought it deserved recognition. They sing an off-key rendition of For She's a Jolly Good Fellow while Malcolm beams beside me. I don't wipe away my tears. I don't hide my smile. I just let myself be seen. The Novocore Foundation office hums with activity across the hall from our main headquarters. What started as a personal project now has 3 full-time employees vetting scholarship applications and coordinating mentorship programs for young adults abandoned by family homeless teens, foster system graduates, those cut off for being LGBTQ+. I read the letter again before adding it to our testimonial wall. Your story gave me permission to protect myself. I always thought I had to forgive them to heal. You showed me I could just walk forward instead and build something new. Thank you for saying out loud what so many of us couldn't, end quote. My phone buzzes with a text from Camille. 6 months in therapy, learning who I am without them. Thank you for the recommendation. The silence is deafening and wonderful. I send back a simple heart. Some bridges can be rebuilt. Others should remain crossed just once. Sunset bathes my balcony in amber light, the Seattle skyline a glittering promise against the darkening sky. I curl into my outdoor chair, a glass of Cabernet on the side table, quarterly reports untouched beside it. They can wait until morning. My phone rings. Once, the sound triggered instant dread. Now I check the screen without tensing a potential new client recommended by Westbrook, who returned with a larger contract after the truth emerged. I answer with a smile in my voice. Tessa Donovan. As I discuss expansion possibilities with the prospective client, I watch the sunset fade to twilight. I'm not running anymore. I'm free. Later, I place fresh dahlias, Malcolm's late wife's favorite, beside the framed photo of teenage me and Malcolm at my GED ceremony. The girl in the picture looks shell-shocked but determined, her second-hand dress neatly pressed, her eyes simultaneously wounded and defiant. I touched my heart gently. We did it, I whisper to her. The doorbell chimes me friends arriving for our monthly dinner. Laughter spills into my home as I welcome them, the space filling with connection, freely chosen, freely given. Your worth isn't measured by who stays. It's revealed by who you become when they leave.